Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
Get on the ground right now!
It looks like a scene from Cops, but this is the reality for Mesa police officers who have to wear cameras on their uniforms.
Plus, Amber Alerts have saved hundreds of children, and a similar system for missing elders could do the same.
And a bunch of hoopla about the Phoenix Public Library moving forward in the digital age.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Tara Molina.
And I'm Dom DeFurio. Thanks for joining us.
Protesters are calling attention to the immigration reform debate again today in Washington, D.C.
They want the Department of Homeland Security to stop deporting immigrants while the nation waits for Congress to act on any reform. Reporter Jillian Idle joins us live from our Washington Bureau with more.
Today, those in attendance at the press conference in D.C. are part of the Si Se Puede petition filing that hopes to see immediate changes to current immigration laws. They are urging President Obama to use his executive power to stop deportation proceedings. For some who spoke, it's their last attempt before they are expected to appear in immigration court in the coming weeks.
We believe that stopping deportations should be the first step on the path to immigration reform. It's not an alternative to reform, and it's not a plan B. Stopping deportations should be plan A for reform.
Now, there is no specific time frame, but the Department of Homeland Security must provide a response and explain its decision to grant or deny petitioners' request. Reporting live in Washington, D.C., Jillian Idle, Cronkite News.
Senior Senator John McCain is bound to be upset about the passing of the Farm Bill. The Senate pushed forward on the Farm Bill that the House approved last week. The bill provides a financial cushion for farmers who face unpredictable weather and market conditions, and it cuts the food stamp program by about 1%. Senator McCain previously blasted the Farm Bill, calling it wasteful and detailing a number of handouts to special interests.
It's difficult to secure funding from the government for land they own in Arizona, and some counties are already making cuts because of it. Reporter Mackenzie Scott tells us what solutions are being worked on.
You may not know what PILT is, but to Arizona counties, it's worth $32 million and was almost worth nothing this year. PILT, payment in lieu of taxes, is federal money that goes to counties with large areas of non-taxable federal land, but it was cut from this year's budget. Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick said counties in her district are suffering.
It's been critical. I mean, teachers have already been laid off. We've had so many superintendents of schools coming in and saying, you know, we've had to cut staff.
Jennifer Sweeney Marson, executive director of the Arizona Association of Counties, says that securing funding every year has been a challenge.
As the recession has been moving on, of course, budgets are tight at every level of government, including the federal level. And so in the last, I would say, 4 to 5 years, securing that PILT funding every year has been more and more of a challenge.
Money that funds firefighting, schools, law enforcement, libraries, and road maintenance.
It's very critical to my district where 95% of the land is owned by the state or the federal government. So we don't have a private property tax base. So PILT funds vital programs.
And it will fund them again this year because PILT funding was slipped into the Farm Bill. Placing PILT into the Farm Bill saved counties this year, but Congresswoman Kirkpatrick wants a permanent solution.
The bill I introduced makes PILT funding permanent. And so the only thing we would be talking about year after year is how much funding we're going to put into it.
Arizona is covered with federal land and is currently the 4th largest PILT recipient. So this money has an impact on Arizona. In Washington, Mackenzie Scott, Cronkite News.
The Farm Bill that passed earlier today will secure the money that these counties need.
State Senator Leah Landrum Taylor is dropping her bid for the Democratic Party nomination for Secretary of State. Instead, the former minority leader wants to focus on reforming the state's child welfare system. The announcement comes about a month after former Arizona Attorney General Terry Goddard said he would run for the office.
Senator Landrum will have a lot of work to do. Just last week, Arizona's legislature passed a bill that would fund the hiring of 192 additional child welfare workers. Reporter Nathan De La Torre found out that the money is welcome, but now the real challenge is getting those workers trained and hired.
According to Governor Brewer's Care Team report, there's a current backlog of 11,000 child welfare cases.
The report also found that each week there's around 840 new cases, which means there's a need for workers. The legislature worked together to come up with the funding. Down at Arizona State University's School of Social Work, students and faculty see this as a chance to make a difference.
So it's an opportunity for students to come through the School of Social Work who are interested in child welfare to participate in the training project here and for future employment with maybe DES unless it's.
I also talked to students at ASU School of Social Work, and they said they're excited to get into the workforce and help Arizona's children. I'm Nathan Delatorre, Cronkite News.
He threw his hat into the race for governor last month, and today Mesa Mayor Scott Smith gave potentially his last State of the City address. But as Cronkite News reporter Megan Thompson says, despite his future run, the mayor spent the speech looking back.
He made quite an entrance. Mayor Scott Smith, with his mantra of building a better Mesa, took to the stage at the Mesa Convention Center.
Following in the words of the great philosopher Larry the Cable Guy, get her done. Well, I can stand up here and say that over 5 years, this community has gotten it done.
To deliver what he says may be his last State of the City address.
I am so grateful that you have allowed me to be part of this. This is when I said I wasn't going to get emotional.
But what was missing from his speech? Talk of run for governor of Arizona. This right here is the only hint that Mayor Scott Smith is running for governor. A small table outside the convention center with flyers and a few pictures.
It's not about my campaign, it's about Mesa. Actually, my campaign is my record.
But his fellow Mesa council members didn't seem to mind.
I didn't expect Mayor Smith to come here and make a gubernatorial speech. There's going to be a place for that.
Instead, the mayor decided to take a look back, talking more about the last 5.5 years, focusing on the so-called HEAT program, which sheds light on healthcare, education, aerospace, and tourism in Arizona. He did discuss the future, but only to talk about Mesa, saying there's so much more to be done.
The second we sit back and start thinking, wow, aren't we great, we'll fall behind.
In Mesa, Megan Thompson, Cronkite News.
Following his speech, the mayor held a virtual open house where he answered questions via Twitter.
One thing the Mesa mayor did not talk about was the Mesa Police. But there are some big things happening in the department. One of them is a new technology that increases police transparency. And I got the chance to shadow one officer who uses the camera.
Stop right there, I'm gonna tase you. I'm gonna tase you if you do not stop.
No, this isn't reality television.
Don't, then stop. I have him right here, guys, boxed in.
This is just reality for Mesa Police Officer Jason Flam.
If you don't stop, I'm gonna light you up.
I had stage fright at first. Now I've become accustomed to using the camera, and I feel naked if I don't have my camera.
Flam is one of 50 Mesa police officers whose on-body camera is now a required part of his dress code, just like his gun, badge, and radio.
I put on my uniform, I put on my camera, and I start my shift.
Mesa is one of 22 Arizona law enforcement agencies that are currently using Axon cameras. And the cameras are rolling every time a police officer has contact with a citizen, even when entering their homes.
Do not move.
Some feared that walking up to and ultimately inside someone's home, cameras rolling, would prompt invasion of privacy complaints. But the Mesa Police Department says they haven't registered one complaint since the cop cameras were introduced in 2012.
I think it's great for the officer and the suspect. Shows actually what happens, the truth of the matter, and can't deny it.
Complaints about excessive force have dropped more than 60% since Mesa started using the cameras.
These complainants call in and they realize the entire sequence of events has been captured on video. They'll just hang up the phone.
The American Civil Liberties Union, which has long argued against pervasive government surveillance, says the cameras also hold police accountable.
It really helps to increase transparency about what police officers do when no one's around.
In emergency situations, like in this homicide case, the cameras monitor an officer's driving, conduct, and help document the crime scene. The footage cannot be edited or deleted.
I have no choice. Whatever's recorded gets uploaded to evidence.com.
And it's immediately available to be reviewed by the officer or their supervisors.
I have nothing to hide.
And nothing to hide means more protection for the police and the public. Mesa's newest class of police recruits are the first in the country to graduate from the police academy with a camera as part of their uniform.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
We go inside the burgeoning medical marijuana industry. Cronkite News finds out how many doctors are writing prescriptions for pot.
Suffering from dementia can be stressful for any family. But what happens when around-the-clock care just isn't enough?
Imagine being stranded.
Needing 16,000 points for them.
From TV banks to computers.
Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Kiss me. That's my kind of man. You've been creating quite a stir.
State records reveal less than 1% of doctors approving the use of medical marijuana are responsible for almost 25% of the prescriptions. Sound suspect? We thought so too. But as Shane Dwyer reports, some state leaders say difficulty in investigation and enforcement is a direct result of the new state law.
Good morning, how you doing?
Every morning, Marty Cheyenne is there to greet her customers. Women and men in need of medical marijuana. She's not only an employee at Arizona Organics, a medical marijuana dispensary in Glendale.
That's the strain that has really, really low THCs.
She's also a retired nurse, one who has a medical marijuana card herself. And when it came time to get that card, she was cautious in choosing the right physician.
The woman that I saw is a naturopath, and she spent 45 minutes with me, going over my medical history and other things I could do for my health.
But a recent report by the Arizona Department of Health Services shows that a handful of doctors are handing out the majority of these cards. Of the 472 physicians statewide who approved patients for medical marijuana cards in the past year, the top 4 physicians are responsible for almost 25% of all of the prescriptions. And with those 4 doctors responsible for 1 out of every 4 medical marijuana cards in the state, at an average of $150 a card, that's just over $1.3 million in these doctors' pockets alone.
Quite honestly, one of our concerns has been from the very beginning that there's just a handful of doctors that are writing the vast majority of the certifications.
It suggests to me that the word is out in the subculture of marijuana usage that you go to these people to get marijuana.
Representative John Kavanaugh, who voted against the medical marijuana law in 2010, believes that the patients certified by these high-volume doctors to legally use marijuana may be doing illegal things instead.
Our survey of youthful illegal substance abuse has shown that 11% of young people, high school students, who use marijuana illegally, recreationally, 11% get it from medical marijuana card holders.
Getting pot from cardholders who may not even be qualified themselves.
That's my big overarching concern, is that that full assessment and honest assessment isn't necessarily happening at these high volume certifiers.
Cronkite News attempted to get a hold of the top 4 prescribing doctors to ask for their side of the story. Hi, my name is Shane Dwyer and I'm a reporter with But we found out that the medical marijuana law made that data confidential and included other measures that make investigating these doctors difficult even for state officials.
Our surveillance tools are not as good as we'd like, but it's not our fault. It's really the way the voter-approved initiative was structured.
You can't do anything because the medical marijuana law was written by people who want medical marijuana and who probably want recreational marijuana.
Fruit punch. Fruit punch.
Back on the front lines, Cheyenne says the explanation is simple. Potential card holders are scared of what their personal doctors will say and are visiting specialty clinics instead.
Basically, the doctor took the pain medication away and said, well, then go use your cannabis. I won't prescribe for you anymore.
Now, to make the system more equitable, Director Humble wants to educate primary care physicians so they feel more comfortable prescribing the drug. Meanwhile, discourage those handful from overprescribing to patients they simply don't know very well. Live in the Broadcast Center, I'm Shane Dwyer, Cronkite News.
When children go missing, an Amber Alert is issued to quickly find them. But when seniors go missing, some think Arizona doesn't do enough to try to find them. Reporter Vivian Padilla tells us about a state legislator that's trying to change that.
Mary and Ken Koch have been married for 25 years, but a surgery to remove Mary's brain cancer in 2008 left her with dementia.
She definitely remembers me, and for instance, if I asked her about our wedding, she couldn't tell you.
But even with round-the-clock care, Mary managed to drive from Ahwatukee to Tucson one night.
It's a scary proposition to not know what to do in that situation. If there was an alert system, like I see with the children with Amber Alert, it would have been comforting.
That alert system he's asking for may start up in Arizona this year if Senate Bill 1097 passes. Senator Gail Griffin authored the Silver Alert bill after another woman, 88-year-old Mary Black, who went missing after driving off on her own.
This would have helped find this woman within the first 3 hours or so, rather than 2 weeks later where their results were not pleasant.
At the Tempe Adult Day Health Services, Carolyn Hutchins helps seniors like Mary and says something like this Silver Amber Alert is definitely needed.
Families need the support to at least know that if something, God forbid, something happens, that something like this is out there so that they can care for their loved one and sleep a little easier at night.
Yeah, you remember now?
Yeah.
For now, Ken is Mary's only alert system, but having the state support if she were to go missing again would help prevent Ken's worst nightmare.
Always on guard and very protective because she is so vulnerable. It was catastrophic for a while. It was devastating.
In Phoenix, Vivian Padilla, Cronkite News.
In the U.S., there are at least 15 states that have legislation that establishes a missing persons alert for the elderly.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
Forget about what you used to think about the library. One in Phoenix now provides a digital service you probably use every day.
Cooler temperatures and possible chances of rain here in the valley. That and your full forecast right after the break.
NewsWatch is one of the really big things I will always remember for the rest of my life.
You're lugging around all of your equipment, you are doing all of the work, and that's what makes it so fulfilling to me.
Being an anchor, I think it's a privilege. I enjoy every moment of it.
Seeing your show on air, it is one of the most surreal feelings ever.
What if we could unlock every mystery?
We're at the beginning of a revolution. That's a huge discovery. That's never been done before, ever, anywhere. Touchdown confirmed.
No one feeds on curiosity like PBS. Give to your PBS station so future generations can keep asking, what if?
It's difficult for the average library to stay relevant. However, the Phoenix Public Library has a new streaming service that may help the digital consumer on a budget. Reporter Sophia Solis is live in the control room to explain how one Phoenix library is now giving digital companies a run for their money.
With the massive success of Netflix and iTunes, companies are scrambling for online consumers. You'd be surprised to know that the Phoenix Public Library is one of those contenders.
With a quiet atmosphere and plenty of content to choose from, Charles Bell loves to come to the Phoenix Public Library.
It's quiet, it's peaceful.
Now, Bell will be able to find books and thousands of music, movie, and audiobook titles. It's part of a new partnership between the Phoenix Public Library and Hoopla Digital, an online streaming service.
It's very accessible, it's very easy to use, so you can get a digital copy of War and Peace so you're not carrying around that huge book.
Electronic Resources librarian Jerry Ann Thacker says that this is a perfect opportunity for the library to stay in touch with the evolving public.
It's really our responsibility to
to continue to be responsive to our customers' needs. They are consuming information differently.
The Phoenix Library has only had the partnership with Hoopla Digital for less than a month, but they have already seen 500 checkouts of digital content. And as the library moves into the new world of technology, they also save money.
We consider it a cost-saving measure because these particular items are never going to disappear. They're never going to become scratched. DVDs have a shelf life.
For Belle, convenience is key.
You know, because with kids, you got a bunch of stuff going on. Or if you read through it really fast, you could check it back in instead of having to come all the way back down.
With this new service, the library might begin to see a new group of loyal visitors. Hoopla's founder says that his company will continue to provide content that's rare, with only 80% of it available through their site. Live in the digital room, Sophia Solis, Cronkite News.
Storm Nika that's hitting many parts of the Midwest, bringing 5 to 12 inches of snow. Now what you're looking at here is Oklahoma City, and you can see it's covered with blankets of white. But let me just show you what that looks like on our radar. You can see the storm right here is coming from the Midwest, making its way all the way up to the northeast. And it's bringing heavy rain, snow, and even thunderstorms. This storm is actually going to be hitting almost the same areas that the last storm was hitting. But luckily, we don't have that problem here in Phoenix. We're at 62 degrees, partly cloudy skies. But check this out. There's clouds in the high country right now in Flagstaff. You see there's just a little bit of snow. And this right here, this system that's coming in from California, making its way into Arizona, which might cool down temperatures for later on this evening. Your lows for tonight, 17 in Flagstaff, 27 in Prescott, 40 in Phoenix, 46 in Yuma. And your highs for tomorrow, 44 in Page, 36 in Flagstaff, and Yuma's getting a little warmer at 69. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow for Phoenix, partly cloudy skies, highs in 64, and then as we get into Friday, you'll see some chances of rain, about 20% chance actually. 64 is a high, and then that rain is going to dry out as we head into the weekend, and will be 71 by Sunday. That's it for your forecast. I'm Alina Lee, Cronkite Weather.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
As winter rounds third, we're ditching the pigskin and picking up the lumber. The Cubs play in the oldest stadium in the National League, but in a few weeks, they'll be christening the newest stadium in Arizona. We'll give you a sneak peek.
A tradition of excellence, integrity, and innovation.
The second I came in, I fell in love with the program.
The Cronkite School propels students into the new era of journalism.
Students are learning.
Digital, entrepreneurial, and collaborative labs encourage students to shape the future of the industry, and the industry is watching.
We have come here to meet with students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism.
The Cronkite School, the journalism school for the digital age.
What if television could sweep us away to another time and place?
Very nice, my lady.
And could take us from the Gilded Age to the Great War. From the heat of the chase to the heart of a queen. No one tells stories like PBS. Give to your PBS station and help bring stories like these to life.
The Super Bowl has come and gone, and it's time to turn our attention from the gridiron to the diamond. Baseball fans get happier as each day passes, and we begin the countdown to spring training. We're only 21 days and 21 hours away from the first Cactus League game here in Salt River Fields. But D-backs fans can be excited because pitchers and catchers report this Thursday. While the Diamondbacks roster is far from final, they have filled at least one slot. The team has extended the contract of manager Kirk Gibson that will keep him in Phoenix through the 2014 season. The D-backs have yet to release further details on the extension. This spring training, the Chicago Cubs will be playing in their new home. The city of Mesa partnered with the team to build a brand new stadium along with a city park, lake, and retail space. The new facilities are now open, and reporter Ryan Foote shows us the main thing that can't be replaced.
Home plate for the Cubs has been in Hohokam Stadium the last 24 years. Not anymore.
I was actually bummed out. It kind of sucked because, you know, we're used to actually seeing every year everybody come out here for spring training, and it's going to be a little bit different.
Not only is Alex missing out on seeing his favorite team, he's also missing out on some money.
Here at my house, we would do parking spaces because at the Cub Stadium, they would get overpacked.
His lot can hold 35 cars and he would charge $5 to park. That's $175 each home game. A nice chunk of change for Alex. Now the Cubs are hoping their new park is enough to get die-hard fans like him and the folks who parked in his yard to show up at the new park.
We're the largest Cactus League facility, 15,000 people. And when you see 15,000 people in at a Cactus League game and the excitement that's going to come this year, I think it's going to really turn heads.
We like to call this area the Kids Adventure Land. It's a sunken playground.
One of the park's biggest attractions are its rope climbs, and the one behind me, Genesis, it's 50 feet tall, making it the tallest in the world.
We think we hit everything out of the park, so to speak, and really wanted to create a space that was unique and separate from the stadium.
Bringing in some new attractions, but not forgetting where they came from.
Hohokam was a great home, but we're looking forward now to the next chapter in Cubs history in Mesa.
And even Alex isn't holding a grudge.
The new stadium, I've already went down there. The park that they just built, it's even better than what it was before.
Hopefully for the Cubs, he isn't the only one willing to give the new stadium a chance. In Mesa, I'm Ryan Foote, Cronkite Sports.
Well, Tara, I certainly am looking forward to seeing that stadium in person.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to a game. That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight.
Thanks for joining us, and good night.